Hi, I want to talk to you today about a lady and her daughter and their story from last week. I'm going to call this young lady Pam to secure her identity. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about my daughter and my son. My son is 5 and my daughter is 2.5. They are bright, healthy, full of energy, and full of joy. So they fill my husband and I's lives with all of these things. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about Pam and her daughter. And their story is a little bit different than ours. Quite a bit different, actually. So last week, Pam made a choice. She made a choice to take her daughter and have her arms and her legs ripped off one by one, and finally crushing her skull to ensure she was dead. Pam never got to experience kissing her baby's face, rubbing her hair, smelling her, holding her. Instead, Pam chose something called abortion, which is a very hot topic in today's society. See, many of you mothers know and appreciate the feeling of holding your baby, of smelling them. But there's so many mothers that don't. According to the Guttmacher Institute, there were over 54 million reported cases of abortion from 1973 to 2014. 54 million. Now, if you live in the state of Georgia, there's only 10.5 million people that live in the state of Georgia. So to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, you would have to take the state of Georgia, Alabama, Texas, New York, not New York City, New York State, the entire state, and Rhode Island. You still would come up short of 54 million people, to give you an idea of the number of people that have been aborted, killed in the womb. This is a very sad number. Now, Pam's baby girl, her screams were not heard, her cries were not heard, but they were very real. And unfortunately, in our society, there are many people who even identify as pro-life who still believe in abortions up to a certain date, or abortions because of certain situations. But this is a problem. It is a problem when people who choose pro-life still vote for people who don't stand for pro-life but stand for pro-abortion. I had the pleasure of interviewing a young lady by the name of Tremaine this week. And she is a very smart, a very a fun, loving mother, a wife, and young lady. And she is a great example of this situation in America. She has about 10 things that she counts when she is voting for an elected official. And abortion ranges in one of those top, but it's not the top. There are other issues, and I don't disagree, there are other issues that are important. But if we are willing to voluntarily kill 54 million people, how many of those people were coming up with solutions to those other 9 problems that are on her list? That's my question. So how do we make abortion unthinkable? Because that's the only way that it's going to stop. That's the only way. Making laws to pass the heartbeat bill, these are great. These are things that as a pro-life individual we rejoice over. But it doesn't stop the way people think. It doesn't stop the act. It moves it around. And so what I would say is we have to make it unthinkable. So I want to share briefly with you my experience with the option for abortion. Again, I told you about our son and our daughter, our 5-year-old and our 2.5-year-old. Now, our 5-year-old was in the womb diagnosed with something called hydrophenosis, which is when the kidneys aren't releasing fluid the way that they're supposed to. And the doctors say that there are many birth defects that can go with this. So they wanted to let us know about our options to terminate our pregnancy. And we let them know very quickly that abortion is not an option for us. It's unthinkable. That we are going to accept and live with our child and live through whatever it is he is going through. We didn't know it was a he at the time, but whatever our child was going through, we were going to be right there with them, holding their hand, so to say. And that's what we did. Now, we were prepared to have emergency surgery upon his birth because this issue, apparently during pregnancy, they said never corrected itself. But for some reason, there was no issue when he was born. He was born healthy kidneys, scored a 9 out of 10 on the APGAR, 8 pounds, 9 ounces, textbook healthy baby. Now, we could have freaked out. We could have said, well, we can't handle this. We can't do this. What are the things that could happen? We're just going to go ahead and abort this baby because it wouldn't be fair for him to live with this. When in reality, we weren't wanting to deal with it ourselves. But we made a choice because it was unthinkable, and whatever our child was going to deal with, we were going to deal with it with him. With our daughter, it was a different story. My husband had been laid off and was in the process of starting a new business. We didn't have health care. We didn't know how we were going to get through it, but we knew we were going to get through it. And we were going to get through it with our baby. Now, abortion was not an option. It was unthinkable. So I know young ladies who in both of these types of situations have had abortions due to loss of jobs, loss of income, lack of health care, being told that there's going to be abnormalities. These are real reasons every day that women are aborting their babies. Now, we have to make it unthinkable. So how do we do that? People who identify as pro-life have got to stop voting for candidates that stand for pro-abortion. If you're pro-life, then be pro-life all the way. If you can't imagine your baby girl or boy getting their arms and legs twisted and ripped off, their skulls crushed, and then being forced to leave your womb, your body, the safety that they were placed in against their will. They didn't choose to be there. And as women, we have rights over our bodies, but we do not have rights over the bodies of others. And even though this body is growing in us, it's not ours, it's theirs. So how do we make it unthinkable? People have got to change the way that they think. People have got to understand the truth about abortion. Now, if you wouldn't want your baby being twisted up and ripped out of your body, why would you want that for someone else's baby? So I would challenge you today to really think about that question. If you wouldn't want that to happen to your own child, why would you wish it or vote for it or stand up for it for someone else's? Let's think clearly. Yes, we are in control of our bodies, but we are not in control of the bodies of others. Something for you to walk away and think about today. How do we make abortion unthinkable? Thank you.